नमः। अभ्रमं भंगरहितम् अजडं विमलं सदा आनन्दतीर्थमतलं वेदापत्रयापहं मिथ्या सिद्धान्तदुद्ध्वान्त विध्वंसनशक्नः जयतीर्थागतनिर्भासतां न हृदम्बरे अत्तिकल्पितकल्पयं प्रत्यत्यकेसरि व्यासतीर्थ गुरुर्भूयात् अस्मदिष्टार्थसिद्धये तपोविद्याविरक्त्यादि सद्गुणोगाकरानं वादराजगुरुं वन्दे हयग्रीपदाश्रयान् पूज्य राघवेन्द्राय सत्यधर्मर्ताय च भजतांकल्पवृक्षाय नमतां कामधेनवे दुर्वादिध्वान्तवे वैष्णवेन्दीवरेन्दवे श्रीराघवेन्द्रगुरुवे नमोऽत्यन्तयाळवे आपादमौलिपर्यन्तं गुरूणामाप्तिं स्मरेत् तेन विघ्नाः प्रणश्यन्ति सिद्धिसमनोरथाः। हरिः ओं श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। We are doing Vishnu Sahasranama Arthanusandhana, the meanings in English session. So we just did for Vishwam, Vishnu, the first two words. So Vishnu Sahasranama, when we start, we say Asya Vishnu Divya Sahasranama Stotra Mahamantrasya Siveda Vyaso Bhagavan Rishi Anushtup Chanda Sri Mahavishnu Paramatma Shriman Narayano Devata Asya Sri Vishnu Divya Sahasranama Stotra Mahamantre Jape Vinyogaha Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Vishwasmai Namaha. विश्वं विष्णुर् वषट्कारो भूतभव्य भवत्प्रभुः भूतकृत् भूतपुरुद्भावो भूतात्मा भूतभावनः भूतात्मा परमात्मा च मुक्तानां परमागतिः अव्ययपुरुषः साक्षी क्षेत्रज्ञोऽक्षर एव च योगो योगविदां नेता प्रधानपुरुषेश्वरः नारसिंह पुश्रीमान् केशव पुरुषोत्तमः. So Vishwam, Vishnu. So after seeing the meanings, a few meanings for these words. So whatever meanings we saw, it does not mean only that many meanings are there. There are a lot more meanings. We just trying to get a simple picture of whatever meanings we can just think of based upon the book by Vidyamanya Tirtharu. And Vashatkara is the third name. So this is this name, a lot of people not familiar with this. Is not like a very common name like Vishwa, Vishnu. These are all like common words. But Vashatkara is not that common a word. But the Vashat, some people might have come across that because when we do Nyasa, we use that. For example, we say Purna Gnanatmane Hudaya Namaha Purna Ishwarapne Shise Swaha Om Purna Prapatmane Shikhaya Vashat. So we say Vashat. So Vaushat, Vashat, these are used. So what does that word Vashat mean or Vashatkara? What do they mean? So here in Rugbhashya Tika, the Rigveda for 40 suktas, Acharya has given a Rugbhashya. So in that Rugbhashya, Acharya says Aishwaryadyaha Shadgunaha Nityavrutta Vashatkarasya Artha Ityaha Vedaha. Veda itself is giving that Vashatkara means Vashatkara. Shat va is Vartante. Vartante means they are existing. In whomever this Shat means six. The six, what are the six? So by different contexts, the six grouping, it reveals different kinds of things. So here in Rugbhashya, Acharya says, Aishwaryadyaha Shadgunaha. The six qualities like Aishwarya. Aishwarya means not just wealth. Aishwarya, Ishwaratva. Ishwara means controlling. Prabhutva, the complete. Samagra, we say. Samagra Aishwarya. Samagra Samarthya. Samagra means a complete, thorough, without any exception, infinite amount, all comprising. That's what that prefix represents. And whoever has these six qualities in their completeness in him, such being is called Vashat. Vartante, Shat, Shadgunaha. So Rugbhashya Tika Rayuru, he elaborates that. It says Aishwarya, etc. 6. What are those etc.? So Tika Ray says, Aishwarya Virya Yashaha Shri Jnana Vairagyani iti Shat Vartante Yasmin Asau Vashat. Vashat iti Akriyate iti Vashat Krutihi Saeva Vashatkaraha. And same thing is also told in Vishnu Purana. It says Aishwaryasya Samagrasya Viryasya Yashasha Shriyaha Jnana Vairagyayoho cha eva Shannam Bhaga itirita. So the Bhaga, we say Bhagavanta, Bhagavan, one who has Bhaga. Bhaga also is 6 gunas. Shad guna is called Bhaga. And this Vashat, in this particular aspect, the Bhagavan and Vashat, they mean the same in this particular aspect. So, but Vashat has other 6 also. We will talk about that later. So here, that Bhagavan meaning is reflected by the word Vashat. The 6 cluster or collection of the 6, and those are 6 are Aishwarya, Ishwaratva, Ishanat Ishwara. Ishwara means controlling. That's why it's called Ishwara, one who is the best among the controllers. Isha, Ishwara, Vara is Sreshta. So Ishwara for Rudra also it's applied, but in a limited sense. Rudra is also Ishwara, but Paramatma is Sarveshwara. Paramatma is controller of Rudra also. That's why he is Samagra Prabhutva, all comprising supreme lordship is there in him. So Samagra Prabhutva, and then Samagra Samarthya. Samagra means all comprising. Samarthya, Prabhutva, Samarthya, Aishwarya, and Virya, and Yasha, and Shri, Jnana, and Vairagya. These are the 6 qualities. What are those 6 qualities? Lordship means one who controls everything. Everything comes under his control. Nothing is beyond his control. Nothing escapes his control. So this all-comprising controllership, lordship, is called Prabhutva, or Ishwaratva, or Aishwarya. And another quality is Samarthya. Samarthya or Virya or Parakrama, these are all synonyms. Virya is Samarthya. Samarthya is Parakrama. Parakrama is like, suppose you have one who has all large, the qualities, one supports other qualities. So one who is all powerful is all lord also, lordship. One who is a ruler of everything, he is most powerful, then he will also be ruler of everything. So that's why these qualities, one quality kind of goes into the other quality. So that's why in Kannada, in Harikatamsara, one thing, Ondu gunadolu ananta gunagalu, ondu roopadolu pondippavu. So there it says in one quality, many qualities of the Lord are reflecting. So that's why this Virya or Parakrama or Samarthya is one who is capable of doing anything. He's capable. So capability, basically capability, his valor, his strength, all that is reflected by Samarthya, Samarthatva. So that's what is called Virya also. And that's next quality. And the next quality is Yashassu. Yashassu means fame, name, the one who is most known. Like if we say in this world, who is the most known personality or most known entity or most known everything is Paramatma, because all others, they come and go. They are there for a short time. But God's thinking, the God's process, it is eternal. Like, even a caveman thinks of something that's super, something beyond him, something that's extraordinary. He doesn't have any concept of God properly, but still he has some concept of God. So this concept of God is there at all times, because people know that they have limited powers. If they have limited powers, they know that they are under the control of some extraordinary power, which they can't see, but which is present everywhere. Such is that Kirti or Yashashu or fame. The one who is most known is nothing but the Paramatma. At all times, in all places, in all ways, among all the beings, he is known. That's why he is called all famous. He is the most famous person. Is not like a person in the sense of person. That means he is not like a bhautika rupa or physical form, but he is an extraordinary form which controls every spirit and every body, every physical, everything. So that is his fame. And then Shri is also called Saundarya or Swarupa Saundarya. Shri means beauty, or Shri means Kanti. Shri also means Prakasha, one who is extraordinary effulgence, extraordinary appearance, extraordinary beauty, extraordinary attractiveness. That is the other quality of the Lord. And then Shri, that's what Shriha, and then Jnana and Vairagya. We can think of Lord having Jnana. He is like omniscient. He knows everything. That's why his Jnana is all complete. There is nothing that he does not know, because he is the ultimate controller. He's swatantra, he's independent, he's not dependent on anything. So jnana is a personification of knowledge. And then vairagya, how can we say Lord has vairagya? Vairagya, we say, detachment. It's all needed for us to do sadhana. Why does Lord need the vairagya? It's not a question of Lord needing vairagya. Vairagya means what? Not having attachment. Lord is not attached to anything. Even his incarnations, we see like in Krishna, all the Yadavas, his own Vamsha people, because of the curse, he comes to know that they are all going to get killed by killing each other. That curse is given by the Saint Durvasa. Then this curse, hearing that, the Lord smiles, because that is the Lord's own will. Even whatever curses are coming, whatever is happening, everything is happening by the will of the Lord. He knows past, present, and future. So nothing upsets him. He is completely detached. He does not have any attachment to anything. So the Vairagya is ultimate quality of the Lord, because he is the most Vairagya personified, because he is not attached to anything, anybody. So that is it. But at the same time, he is attached to the devotees. It is not an attachment. The devotees come closer and closer to him, he goes closer and closer to them. That is his natural property, a natural swabhava of the Lord. Whoever goes closer and closer to him, he goes closer and closer to them. They go further and further, he goes further and further. That is not because of his attachment. That is complete detachment he has got, but still he does that because that is his inherent nature, not because he's attached. He does not get attachment means if suppose something goes away, he get perturbed. So the Lord getting perturbed does not happen at all. No matter what, he never gets perturbed. There's no perturbance in feeling in him at all. That is the real Vairagya. That's why this Vairagya quality is also in him. And one who has all these 6 qualities, that's why it's called Vashatkara, Akara, a personification of these 6 qualities. And then another meaning is he is Vashatkara. There is, like the cases we say, like in English language, we call like a nominative case, all these cases. And by these 6 cases, the Lord is addressed. So, for example, these are Daksha Prajapati, he praises the Lord and he says this. In Bhagavata it comes, Yasmin yato yena cha yasya yasmai yam yo yada kurute karyate va paravaresham paramam prak prasiddham tad brahma tad hetuhu ananya desham. So, he is by whom everything happens, from whom everything happens for the sake of. So everything in this world is about the Lord. We are all doing everything, but we are all like kind of a puppets in the hands of God. So everything he owns, he's like the Sambandha, Sashti Tat Purusha, or the genitive case or the possessive case. He owns everything. So Sashti Tat Purusha, the Sambandha is there, that he is the owner of everything. He is the Lord of everything. That's there. But along with that, the karakas, karakas means like accessories. If you see any action, there is a possibility of 6 accessories. What are the 6 in any action in this world? Physically, an action takes place. Suppose somebody says, for example, Devadatta went and cut the tree with an axe. Take a sentence like a big sentence like that. There, the one who does an action, he's called a doer. And then the doer is performing an action like, cutting a tree. So cutting is an action. He's cutting what? When we ask a question, what is he cutting? He's cutting a tree. So the tree is a karma or object, an object of the action. So Mr. X cut the tree with an axe. So by using an axe, so the axe is a karana or upakarana. So if you give in Sanskrit, you say parashuna vruksham achinat. So this parashuna, that is tritiya vibhakti. That means when something is used as a tool, that is done by tritiya vibhakti or instrumental case. So we have nominative case, which is Prathama Vibhakti, accusative case, which is Dvitiya Vibhakti, instrumental case, which is Tritiya Vibhakti, which is Karane. So they say Kartru, Karma, Karana. And then suppose Sampradana. Sampradana means to whom it is going. It is like, something, suppose you say, another example, say, I am giving a fruit to Govind. So Govind is receiving and I am giving the fruit. So Govind is receiving the fruit. and it is going away from me and is going to the hands of Govind. So the receiver is Govind. So Ramaya aham phalam dadami. So for the sake of Rama, I am giving the phala, the fruit. So Ramaya, Govindaya, so that is Chaturthi Vibhakti, and the fruit is going Mama Hastat Phalam Gataha or Rukshat Parnaha Patat. So the Panchami, when it is separation is indicated, it is done by Panchami Vibhakti. That means Apadana. Sampradana is for to whom it is going, Chaturthi Vibhakti or dative case. Apadana is Panchami Vibhakti or oblative case. When it is something is going away, it is done by from. From is the one that we use in English language. So it is going from my hand to another person's hand. So it's going away from my hand, going to another person's hand. I am giving that to another person. So that too is in English language, the cases are there, but the words that are used are very not as rule kind of rules that we use in all our vernacular languages and Samskrita Bhasha. Well defined vibhakti pratyayas are there. In English, it is well defined in that language structure itself, but they're not attached to the word itself. For example, we use separate words like to, from, for, like that. And I bow to Rama. So aham Ramaya namami or Ramam namami or Ramaya namaha. Aham Ramam namami or Ramaya namaha. So this kind of usage in Sanskrit, you see the cases endings much more specifically. That is why the vibhaktis map to the 6 accessories. So you have karta, you have karma, the doer, and to which the action is performed is karma, and the tool that is used is karana or tritiya vibhakti, and the sampradana where it is going, that's chaturthi vibhakti, and apadana where it is going away from that, it is called panchami vibhakti. And then sambandha sashti, we saw Lord is the Lord of everything, he owns everything. So sashti, it is not an accessory itself because it is just talking about the relationship. And then Saptami is locative case, wherever the action is taking place, the adhikarana, the locus, like I am giving a fruit in the house or in a temple or in some place, somewhere I am doing that. So the place is also, even if it is not specifically mentioned, we know that we are all on earth. So the place earth gives us the location. So the Saptami Vibhakti is locative case. So we have all these 6 cases representing 6 accessories, and all these 6 accessories are under the control of the Lord. Like, Mr. X is cutting the tree is under the control of Lord, Mr. X is under the control, the tool that is used is under the control of the Lord, action is under the control of the Lord, everything is under the control of the Lord. So the 6 accessories that are mentioned here, which are karta, karma, karana, sampradana, apadana, and adhikarana. Adhikarana is location. So all these are under the control of the Lord. These are 6. So that's why it's called Vashat. So one who controls all these 6, that's what is called Vashatkara. And then another thing is Vashatkara. So this Va is Bala, Valam Balam. So Bala and Shatkara means this Shatkara is another set of 6 qualities, which probably you can think of it like if you do any mantra japa, you use these 6 for Anganyasa, Karanyasa. For example, you say Om Purna Jnanatmane Angushtabhyam Namaha, Purna Aishwaryatmane Tajjanebhyam Namaha, Om Purna Prabhatmane Madhyamabhyam Namaha, Om Purna Anandatmane Anamikabhyam Namaha, Om Purna Teja Atmane Kanishtikabhyam Namaha, Om Purna Shakyatmane Karatala Karaprushtabhyam Namaha. Like that you say, and same way you say Om Purna Jnanatmane Hudayaya Namaha, Purna Aishwaryatmane Shrise Swaha, Om Purna Prabhatmane Shikhaya Vashat, Om Purna Anandatmane Kavachaya Hum, Om Purna Teja Atmane Netrabhyam Voshat, Om Purna Shakyatmane Astraya Patu, we say, and we do a Digbandhana. So these 6 qualities are actually 6 forms of the Lord that we do. When we do this Anganyasa, Karanyasa, we are supposed to think about these 6 forms of the Lord. What are those 6 forms? Purna Jnana is all personification of knowledge. God is Purna Jnana, and then that is Purna Jnana. and then Purna Aishwarya. So Purna Jnana, Purna Aishwarya, these are all the 6 qualities, and Purna Prabha, Purna Ananda, Purna Teja, Purna Shakti. All these along with Bala, Va. So Va, Shat, Kara, one who is personification of all this is called Vashatkara. And there's another one which, like, in Yaga Yagnas, Yajurveda mantras, we use Vashatkara. There it is used. For example, there Bhagavanta is Yajna, Yajna Purusha, Yajnesha, Yajna Bhavana, Yajna Bhuk. In these 5, there is Vashatkara is there, one of them. So one who is worshipped with Vashatkara, that's why is called Vashatkara. What is that means? We say, like, O Shravaya, and then Om Yajnaya Namaha. So Astu Shraushat Yajna Puman. So we say like, we Yajna Purushaya Namaha, and then Yaja Yagneshaya Namaha, Ye Yajamahe Yajna Bhavanaya Namaha, Om Vashatkaraha Yajna Bhuje Namaha. Like this, we Vashatkara, the Vashatkara Shabda is used in Yajurveda mantras, and one who is addressed by this mantra Vashatkara, that's why he is called Vashatkara. And then another definition is he is when we all the jnana becomes lopa, that means the jnana is diminishes in the world too much, and there is nothing, people are all confused, something happens. Then Vedavyasa in Dwapara Yuga, he took an avatara, and for the people, to help them to do the sadhana, he gave shastras, scriptural supports for us. Among those 6, the first 4 are eternal, which are all there, but represented, what we call Veda Vibhaga. Vedavyasa came, and Vedas were not created by the Lord. They are eternal, they are beginningless, but they are always existing in the form of the swasha of the Paramatma. They are there as the very breathing of Paramatma. So that kind of Veda, eternal. So Udgiryanti Anishamyataha. So it comes in Dvasha Stotra also. So that eternal presence of the Vedas, still the Vedavyasa came and did Vibhaga, Veda Vibhaga. So he gave 4 Vedas to the world. And then 5th one is Panchama Veda, Mahabharata, and all the Puranas he gave us. 5th one, the collection of all those Paurusheya Granthas, so Apaurushaya Vedas and Paurushaya Granthas. And then along with that, Nirnayaka Shastra, which is Brahma Mimamsa, we talked about that, the Brahma Sutras. He gave Brahma Sutras to the world, the 6th one. So like this, the 6 sets of scriptures, the 6th set is called Shatkara. So one Vartham Shatkara. So he gave for the sake of giving knowledge to the people. So Jnanaya Vartham Yavad Jnanaya Paralokagate, because people have to go to moksha. Moksha sadhana can happen only with the help of the scriptures. So God has given these scriptures to the world so that they can do sadhana. That's why he is Vashatkara. So there the 6 represents this. And then another thing is he is Vashatkara. Kara means doer. So he Va is Bala, we saw that, and Shat is Shatguna. So a different ways of Shatgunas. Not only these, there are other ways, the Shatguna, the 6 beautiful qualities. Any Shatgunas you take of the Lord, all those Shatgunas he has. And then Kara, the Kartrutva is there. So Va, Shat, Kara, all these 3 are there in him. That's why it's called Vashatkara. And then also, he gives, these gunas are there in him in Samagra Rupa or infinite form. But in people also, they have some knowledge, they have some kind of a control, they have some kind of capability we see in the world, they have some kind of a beauty. So in the world, we see these qualities being present in different people at different levels. So the Lord gives them according to their abilities to different people at different levels. So these 6 qualities he gives to the people. So one who gives to his devotees and also others, but all the people, these 6 qualities as per their Swarupa Yogyata, that's why it's called Vashatkara. And there's another when it is done, Va is like va prapane. There is a dhatu called vaha prapane dashat pratyaya. Va shat is there, right? So va shat means va shat. Vaha prapane. In that ha gets dropped, and dashat pratyaya is uhyate, passive voice. The passive voice is called dashat pratyaya. So in the dashat pratyaya, it is called uhyate. Vaha prapane. The passive voice for vaha is uhyate. Uhyate means supported. What is supported? This Brahmanda. The Brahmanda is supported by the Lord. One who supports the Brahmanda, or one by whom this Brahmanda gets supported. That means Brahmanda receives support from the Lord. That's why he is called Vashatkara. So this is the Vashat. Vashat. Ushyate anena. So that's why it's called Vashat. So that's why Vashatkara, that's another meaning. And then another Vashatkara means, so here, wakeful state, dream state, and deep sleep. That one is how Vati Vashatkara. Va means Vati Preranartham Gachati. Va Gati Gandhanayoho. So Gati Gachati, going, moving, activities. So all the activities in this world, they get performed because the Lord enters them and gives them instigation, prerana, during their wakeful state. So because of that, he is Va. And then shat, that one is said like shasha swapne. Shasha, that sha dhatu represents swapna avastha. So that's why he is called Shasti Swapiti Swapnam Swapam cha prapayati. One who makes the living beings have the dreams. So even our dreams are not controlled by us. Even our dreams, we know that, like we want a beautiful dream, we get a nightmare. So we don't even have control over our own dreams. Forget, leave alone the wakeful state, whether we have control or not. People discuss, oh, do I have freedom? Do I have free will? Do I have free will? Look at the way we can understand the absence of free will. Even a dream state, we don't have control over our dreams. So how can we have control over, in the wakeful state, about things which are none of it is created by us. So we don't have any freedom at all, free will at all. So during one who gives swapnavastha to us, and another sleep, the later on, that whatever comes, that represented by that is sushupti, or deep sleep. So this wakeful state, dream state, and deep sleep, everything is given by the Lord. That's why he is called Vashatkara. So this is what it is. And then the another one is there in Bhagavad Gita 8th chapter. Arjuna asked a question. So what is meant by Brahma? Kim Brahma? Kim Adhyatmam? Kim Karma? So he asked question in the beginning of the 8th chapter. Arjuna asked the question, and Krishna explains these words, the 6 words, which are Brahma, Adhyatma, Karma, Adhibhuta, Adhidaiva, and Adhiyajna. These are the 6 words Arjuna asked, and the Lord explains these words and tells one who understands this completely. Everybody we understand at our own different levels, but the one who understands all these 6 completely, clearly is Paramatma. That's why he explains, like a brief meaning for these words, I'll tell you. Brahma. Brahma means Brumhitatvat Brahma. The Lord is called Brahma. Brahma means not Chaturmukha Brahma. Brahma means Parabrahma. The Brumhitattva is all-pervading, one who pervades everything. That's why he's called Brahma. The Lord is called Brahma because he pervades everything. And then Lord is Adhyatma. Adhyatma means he is Atma Rupa. He is as a controller. He is present inside everything through Swatantra independence. That means on his own will, he enters everything. He controls everything. That's why he's called Adhyatma. Adhyatma. So that's that's the definition of Adhyatma. And then karma is actually the creation. So the karma is creation. What is creation? For Jadapadarthas, inert objects, he changes the trend, from Mula Prakriti, he creates the Panchabhutas, created this entire universe. And when we create some objects, he is present inside us, he making us, giving us the skill to create it, and he is present inside the object, and he is making the object getting create, no, actually that means the ultimate creator is him. So he is inside us. Even Brahma says, Brahmani Brahmarupo. So Brahma created the universe. Yes, Brahma created the universe, but he created as a dependent being. The Lord is present inside Brahma with the name Brahma, and he is the real creator. Chaturmukha Brahma is secondary creator. Of course, Chaturmukha Brahma created the world. We all use that word, but not as an independent being. That's why karma talks about the creation process. And then Adhibhuta. Bhuta is like, all the inert objects. Adhibhuta, one that is higher than these inert objects. The Jivatma. We Jivas are at a higher plane than the inert objects. That's why Jiva Swabhava is called Adhibhuta. And then Adhidaiva. Adhidaiva means Daiva is God or goddess. So one who has Paramatma as the only one greater than her, Lakshmi. Lakshmi is called Adhidaiva because Paramatma alone is Adhika than Lakshmi. So one who has Paramatma alone as Adhika is called Adhidaiva. So that's for Lakshmi. And then Adhiyajna. Adhiyajna is one who is most worshipable. The Lord is Adhiyajna because he is the most worshipable being. That's why it's called Adhiyajna. So Yaja Pujayam. So Yajna is one who is worshipped. Adhiyajna, Adhika Yajna, Sarvottama Yajna, Adhika Pujya. That's why it's called Adhiyajna. So this Lord alone knows this complete meaning of that, and we get at our own abilities, we understand these words to some extent. So this is what is mentioned by this is what Vashatkara. So this six knowledge, whoever has, Vati Janati. So one who knows all these six, that's why he's called Vashatkara. So that's another definition or meaning. And then we have six indriyas, like Pancha Jnanendriyas and Manas. And there are a couple more meanings. So I will talk about that in the next class, so that we can allow some time for any questions out there. Sri Krishna Arpanamastu. Bhyo Namaha. Abhramam Bangarahitam Adadam Imnam Sada Anandatirthamatlam Bhajetaaptrayapaham Mithya Siddhanta Dudhvanta Vidhvamshan Shakshana Jaitittakata Nirbhasatam Nahridambare Artikarta Kalpoyam Pratyatita Kesari Vyasatita Urubhuyat Asmishtat Siddhe Tapo Vidya Viraktiyari Sadgunaukakarana Vadirada Guru Nunde Hegryadashayan Pujya Raghavendraya Satyadhamratayata Bhajatankal Purukshaya Tam Kamadhenave Durvadi Dhantravaye Vaishnavendi Varendave Shri Raghavendra Guruve Namatintayalave Apadamoni Paryantam Gurunamaktan Smare Tena Vignaha Prashyanti Siddhyanta Manorathaha Harihi Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. We are doing the English session for Vishnu Sahasranama. We just started recently. So we are doing the third name we did a little bit. Vishwam Vishnur Vashatkaro Bhuta Bhavya Bhaut Prabhu Bhutagud Bhutavudbhavo Bhutatma Bhutabhavanaha. Vishwam Vishnu Vashatkara, we saw quite a few meanings. We'll see a couple more. But before we continue, I just want to remind, I talked about it earlier, but once again I want to say, there are three ways of reciting Vishnu Sahasranama. One is just like, we just say, Asya Shri Vishnu Divya Sahasranama Stotra Mahamantrasya Shri Vedavyaso Bhagavan Rishi Anushtup Chandha Shri Mahavishnu Paramatma Shriman Narayano Devata Shri Mahavishnu Prityathe Jape Vinyogaha. And then we say Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, and then Om Vishwasmai Namaha, Om Vishwam Vishnu Vashatkaro Bhuta Bhavya Bhaut Bhutakut Bhutavudbhavo. So this is how we do that. And then we complete that at the end, Sarva Pranayatha Namaha, and then that's it, we end it. And the second mode is, we tell everything that is there, the Purva Pitika and Uttara Pitika, whatever is there in Mahabharata, only those slokas are told. So starting from Yudhishthira Vacha, Kimekam Devatam Loke Kimva Peka Paran. So the Yudhishthira asks the questions and Bhishmacharya replies, and he continues the Vishnu Sahasranama. And then Uttara Pitika again, at the end, the Uttara Pitika is there from Mahabharata itself. So that's the second approach. The third approach is, whatever we are like in a traditional way that we are doing, like traditional slokas, then Mahabharata, all the verses, then the traditional slokas again. So this is the third approach. But the most popular one, that's where they're telling all the slokas,
there's one thing that is not quite right. I just want to point out, because like a lot of books have printed that way, so that's coming like that. And for example, there is a sloka, right? Sarva pranayada is told right at the last sloka. So where Devaki Nandanandas Nandagopala. So the last one that's told after Sarva Pranayata, then we say Sarva Praharana Ayatha Om Namaiti, and then they say Vanamali Gadeshangi Shanki Chakri Chanandaki Sriman Narayana Vishnu Vasudeva Virakshatu, and they not only say that, they say that 3 times. It's a nice sloka and everything, but telling that in between the Mahabharata slokas is not right. So if people want to recite that sloka, that is fine. What people have to do is recite entire Mahabharata slokas and Arjuna Vacha, Padmapatra Vishalaksha, Padmanabha Surottama, Bhaktanam and Raktanam, Trata, Bhavajanardana. Before that sloka, they can say Vanamali Gadeshangi Shankicha. So instead of inserting the sloka in between Mahabharata slokas, probably one of the reasons might have been somebody who printed that, they started counting the sloka number from Vishwam Vishnu Vashatkaro as the first sloka, and then they got 107. They start, okay, we need 108 is a good number. Let us make 108 by adding the sloka is a good sloka, let us add that. But that approach itself is not right, because there are 13 slokas as Purva Pitika, and the 14th sloka is Om Vishwam Vishnu Vashatkaro. So that's why the last sloka that comes, it is not actually 107th, but it is 120th sloka. So there is no need to add this sloka right there, because Mahabharata slokas, they are going like a Ganga Pravaha. They should go unobstructed, without any obstruction, from beginning, from Yudhishthira Vacha and until the end, Jagata Pramoviyam. So right at the end, and then there it should stop, and then you can tell Vanamali Gadeshangi, then Arjuna Vacha Padmapatra Vishalaksha. So basically the Mahabharata sloka should go smooth flow without any obstruction. That's one thing. The second thing, the obstruction, the added like Om Sarva Pranayada Om Namaiti. So like this, they are adding that part Om Namaiti and that thing, and that can be added anywhere. So there is Trata Bhojanardana, Trata Bhojanardana Om Namaiti. So you can put that for anything. So that is not part of Mahabharata. People added, so it is not proper to add our own things to whatever Vedavyasa has already written. I mean, at the end we can add any slokas we want, but so that those things also, it is better to avoid. People are hesitant to do that because, oh, this is like a mantra, Om Namaiti, why take it out? So, but it is not part of Mahabharata. So it is better to recite the entire Mahabharata slokas unobstructed like Ganga Pravaha. And at the end, the traditional slokas can come again at the end and the beginning also. Shuklam, Bharadam, Vishnu, Shivanam, Sadhupanam, all the traditional slokas come. Then Yudhishthira Vacha, then till the end, Mahabharata slokas, that entire adhyaya has to be recited. Then at the end again, the traditional slokas can be recited. So this is the right way, but because so many books got printed that way, so many people are reciting that way, and most famous people who sang this, they also sang that way because the books printed like that. So it has become so popular, and it's very difficult to take that out, but at least our people, they can correct this approach by reciting it in the right way. So that I just wanted to mention that, and then we can proceed the meaning. So we were seeing Vashatkaraha, and we saw quite a few meanings, and last couple of meanings I just because of the time factor we couldn't complete, so I will talk about that. So when we ended last English session is the 8th adhyaya. Arjuna asked the question, Brahma, Adhyatma, Karma, Adhibhuta, Adidaiva, what are those? So that Arjuna's question, Sri Krishna answers, and that we saw that 6 aspects, Brahma, Adhyatma, Karma, Adhibhuta, Adidaiva, Adiyajna, these 6, the Lord, one who knows about this completely more than anyone else, and he also gives this knowledge to all his devotees. That's why he's Vashat. Va means Vati, Janati. So one who knows the 6 Shat, that Lord, and his Akara is Vashat. So Vashatkaraha. So that is the meaning we saw last time. And then the next one is Shat. We saw all 6 clusters. Another 6 cluster that we can think of is the 6 Indriyas, including mind. Mind is one one primary Indriya. Is also like in Indriya. We have 6 Jnanendriyas. I'm sorry, 5 Jnanendriyas, 5 Karmendriyas, and the 5 Jnanendriyas along with mind are considered as 6 Indriyas. And this Manas, the mind, is a very unique one because it has to join the other Indriyas to make it. Like for example, the Jnanendriyas or the sense organs are like input devices. We receive the knowledge of external world, external objects through these sense organs. Like through the ears, we listen, we receive the sound. Through eyes, we receive the pictures, or we read. When we read the book, we use our eyes to read the books. So the eyes are for seeing. We receive the knowledge by perceiving, by seeing. And then the smelling, the nose, we get the knowledge about the smell from the nose, using the nose. And then the tongue is for the taste. We receive that through the taste by using the tongue. And then the skin is the touch, the sense organ. We get the feelings of the touch knowledge. We get it through the skin. So these are the 5 Jnanendriyas, and they will work along with the mind. The mind is needed. For example, we are seeing something. If our mind is not applied, whatever we are seeing, it is not registered. So the mind is the one that helps the registration process, that takes the attention. So we need the attention. So we say we need attention. We use the word in. So the attention comes through the mind. So for all the sense organs to work properly, the mind is needed. So the mind is clubbed along with the 5 sense organs, and these 6 are used as the input. And also the mind is an output also, because we think the thoughts are put out through the mind. And also the action organs like hands, the feet, reproduction organs, generative organs, and then speech. When we talk, we are, so the rasanendriya, the tongue, it does 2 functions. It works as the input and also output, but 2 separate indriyas. But when it comes to mind, same mind is both input device and output device also. So this mind, along with the 5 sense organs, becomes the 6, and Paramatma, he is making all these 6 function. So he is Vashatkara, means one who gives instigation through these 6 indriyas or organs and makes all the living beings to acquire the necessary knowledge through these 6 organs or 6 indriyas. That's why he is called, the Lord is called Vashat Indriya. Va is Vartate. So Shadindriyani Preranartham Vati Gacchati iti Vashat. Iti Akrita, that Akara, Vashatkara, Akara, one who has this special form, and through that form he instigates these 6 indriyas for all the living beings. That's why it's called Vashatkara. And this particular meaning is also conveyed by Hrishikesha. We heard the name Hrishikesha so many places. Hrishikesha conveys this meaning only. What meaning? Hrishika means indriyas. Isha means Lord. Hrishikesha, Hrushikanam Ishaha. Indriyanam Ishaha. That's why Hrishikesha also conveys the same meaning. So this is the meaning conveyed by another meaning by the word Vashatkara. That's one thing. And then the Vashatkara, another meaning is, we saw this grammatical structure like Vaha Prapane. Prapane means bearing. We saw that. So one who bears, who supports this, all the universe. He supports this entire universe in the form of Kurma. That's why it's called Vashatkara. We saw this meaning already. So that is one thing. But another meaning is Vaha prapane is actually the activities he conduct. So the vaha prapane is bear or conduct, to support or to make it happen, to function. So the vaha, the passive voice for vaha is uhyate. Uhyate means being conducted. Uhyate anena iti vashat. That means all the functionalities, the activities are conducted by the Lord, by the presence of the Lord inside us. So that's why he's called Vashatkara. Va uhyate. Shat means there, that shat is the passive voice. There shat is does not mean 6. That gives the passive voice meaning for the va. Vaha prapane uhyate anena, by whom all the living beings, they conduct their activities because of the help from the Lord. So that's why he's called Vashatkara. That means one by whom all the activities are conducted in all the living beings. So that is the meaning of Vashatkara. So this here, that Vashatkara meaning ends. And then some questions may come when we talk about this Vashatkara. We talked about Lord having 6 auspicious qualities, but we also say Lord has infinite auspicious qualities. So in different places we say different things. So if Lord has 6 auspicious qualities, Lord has infinite auspicious qualities, these two statements are conflicting with each other. Does Lord have 6 qualities or does he have infinite qualities? So the answer for that, actually we see in Harikathamritasara, there is a saying which comes as Ondu gunadol ananta gunagalu ondu roopadali pondippavu gunagana sahita. So in one quality, multiple qualities are present, because at infinity you can say Lord has infinite 1 quality, Lord has infinite 6 qualities, Lord has infinite number of qualities. They all mean the same, because they, what we call the limit function, they converge to the Lord. At Lord, everything, all the things converge at him. So the infiniteness is converging at the Lord. So he is infinite in every respect. So by saying only 1 quality, can we say that it implies 6 qualities? It implies infinite qualities? Can we say that? Yes, we can say that. For example, Swatantra, or independence, or not depending upon, one who can independently do everything. So that Swatantra guna, if you take, every guna is kind of absorbs in one who is free to do everything. He will automatically acquire, because he has infinite freedom, infinite Swatantra, he will have infinite knowledge. The infinite Swatantra gives infinite knowledge. Because he is infinitely free, he has infinite bliss. Because one who is infinite, Swatantra, independence, will not have any, he will not be bound by any kind of sorrow. So he will have infinite joy or infinite bliss. So that's why that Swatantra guna will lead to 2 gunas, 3 gunas, 6 gunas, or infinite gunas, infinite qualities. So it is okay to say 1 auspicious quality, or 3 qualities, or 6 qualities, or infinite qualities, because at infinity everything is infinite. Infinite, all the infinities, they merge at one point. So that's what is, so that's why it's not contradicting to say 6 are infinite. That's one thing. And then we say God has 6 gunas or ananta gunas, but in Shvetasvatara Upanishad it says Sakshi Cheta Kevalo Nirgunascha. Lord is completely Nirguna. So we say, like we talked about this earlier, I just want to recap that one. So Lord is Nirguna, also he has Ananta Guna. These are they not contradicting each other? Not really. There Nirguna does not mean Lord does not have any quality, because the qualitylessness also is a quality. Having Nirgunatva, so he does not have any attribute. The attributelessness is itself another attribute. So it's a contradicting thing to say Lord does not have any attribute or any guna. What it means is Nirguna means he does not have Prakruta gunas or material qualities like Sattva, Rajas, Tamo gunas. He is not bound by that, because he controls 3 gunas. Even Lakshmi controls 3 gunas. So Lakshmi is also beyond these 3 gunas, means automatically it implies the Lord is beyond these gunas. That means Lakshmi is also Nirguna, Lord is also Nirguna in the rest, in terms of Prakruta Guna Rahitatva. That means they are devoid of this Prakruta materialistic Sattva Rajastamo Gunas. They don't have. That's what it is implied by that. So having said that, we go to the next Shabda. Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat Prabhu. Bhuta means past tense. Bhavya means future tense. Bhavat is present tense. So Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat Prabhu means capable, all capable or potent, Samartha, Shakta, one who is all powerful, all potent in past, future and present tense. That means at all times he is full of this potence or this power, this Samarthya. That is what is conveyed by Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat Prabhu. So now the past, present and future, when we say, three things come to our mind. Of course, a lot of things come to our mind. Three things that we come to our mind is, in the past there are many objects, in the present there are many objects, the whole universe is there, and in the future also there will be many objects, not only objects, the universe. This universe, whatever we are seeing now, was created at some point. Before that there was a universe, before that there was a universe, and in future Mahapralaya comes, this whole universe gets destroyed, and after that again the universe will get created. In future many infinite universes will be created. So this creation process is eternal. That means the objects that we are talking about and the universe itself is there in the past, it is there in the present, it will be in future in different forms, in different objects, but all of them are having their existence because of the Lord. He is making them exist, that's why they are existing. Like what we hear, Dravyam Karma Chakalascha Swabhavo Jiva Yevacha Yad Anugrata Santi Nasanti Edupekshaya. Everything that's there, every object that is there, it is there because the Lord wants it to be there. So the past objects, the present objects, objects including the universe, the future objects including the universe, they are all under the control of the Lord. That He is the master of all these objects at all times. That is conveyed by Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat Prabhu, one of the meanings. Another meaning is Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat Prabhu. That means in the past, present and future, the living beings are there, like the Chetanas. Now we talk about all the Jadas that are there in the past, present and future. Same way the living beings are there in the past, they are there in the present, they will be in the future. And all the activities of the living beings, their functioning, their existence, their conducting, everything is done by the Lord, that they are under the control of the Lord. He is the Samartha, Prabhu, Ishvara of all the living beings in the past, in the present and in the future. So that is also conveyed by this Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat Prabhu. Then all the living beings and all the objects, they engage in actions, kriyas. All the past kriyas, all the present actions and all the future actions, they are also under the control of the Lord. So He is the Prabhu, He is the controller, He is the ruler of all the actions in the past, in the present and in the future. That is also conveyed by this Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat Prabhu. And also, when we are talking about past, present and future, we are actually indirectly referring to the time. The time is beginningless and the time is endless. And the beginninglessness of the time and the endlessness of the time may give us a feeling that, oh, the time is beginningless and endless means the Lord is not needed for the time. The time can exist without the need from the Lord. So this feeling will come to our mind. But that feeling is removed by saying that Dravyam Karma Cha Kalascha. So even the Kala, the time exists because of the Lord. So He pervades the time and makes the time exist. So the time itself is not Swatantra, the Jada time. The time, the Kala is Jada and it does not have the Swatantriya or the freedom. It exists because of the Lord. So the Lord is making the time function. He is making the time exist. So that Bhuta Bhavya Bhavishyat means, so the past, the present and the future time itself, which is giving an opportunity for all the objects, actions, everything, that itself is controlled by the Lord. And like this, you can think about everything like a thought processes, the thoughts that we have in the present, past, and the future. Every single thought of every single living being in the past, in the present, and the future is also pervaded and controlled by the Lord. So He is controlling every single thought process in the past, in the present, and in the future. This is also conveyed by the word Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat Prabhu. Prabhu means Samartha, Ishvara, Lord, Controller. That's what is conveyed by Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat Prabhu. Bhavat is like present, Bhavya is future, Bhuta is past. So Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat Prabhu. And then another thing that we can talk about is He is Omkara Vachya, Pranava Swarupa Paramatma, and all the Upanishads, they talk about the Varnas, like the Aksharas, Omkara, or every Aksharas, the Varnas, they are also eternal. So Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat Prabhu, the Varnas that are there in the past, in the future, and in the present, every Varnas which are actually coming out of Omkara Janita Varna. So Omkara, it's like Bija Akshara or Bija Varna. From that, all the other Varnas, every sound that came, all those past, present, and future Varnas, and past, present, and future sounds, and past and present and future meanings, Shabdas, everything, they are existing because of Paramatma Samatya. That's why it's called Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat Prabhu. Kalatrayepi Vidyamanatvat Bhutadi Rupaha Prabhuschaiti Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat Prabhu. So like this, different commentaries also talk about that. And then there's another thing Mandukya Upanishad says Tasya Upavyakhyanam Bhutam Bhavat Bhavishyatiti. So the Upanishad also says the same thought, that the Lord is controller of everything. So He is Trikala Atita. And another thing that we have to talk about, this word can be seen in many meanings by looking at one who controls the Lakshmi, who in the Bhuta Kala and the Vartamana Kala and Bhavishyat. So Lakshmi is eternally liberated. She is there, like she never had a bandha, and she herself is beyond Trigunas and Trikalas also. This past, present, and future are applicable to every being other than Narayana and Lakshmi. For Narayana and Lakshmi, these two are the only beings who are beyond the control of time, who control the time, who are beyond the time. So both of them. So then we get the doubt, Lakshmi also is like equal to the Lord. Not really. Though the Lakshmi is beyond, she is not controlled by time, she is beyond Trigunas and Kala, and she herself is Niyamaka of Trigunas and Kalas, Trikalas. But that Shakti of the Lakshmi is not Swatantra. The Lord gave that power to Lakshmi, so the Lakshmi has that. So that difference is still there, though both of them are beyond all gunas and beyond all kalas. The difference is Lakshmi has all that because of Paramatma's anugraha, and Paramatma has all that because of his own Swatantra. Nobody gave it to him. He himself has a Swatantra, always has it. Not only always has it, he controls everything. So the Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat Prabhu is one who controls the Lakshmi in the same Lakshmi. She is eternal. So past, present, and future. So that's another Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat Prabhu. Another meaning is that currently there is one Brahma, Chaturmukha Brahma is there. Before this Chaturmukha Brahma, there were many infinite number of Brahmas were there. And after this Chaturmukha Brahma, there will be infinite Brahmas are there. So he is Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat Prabhu, means the Lord who controls all the Brahmas that are there in the past and the current Brahma and all the Brahmas in the future. One who controls all of them is Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat Prabhu. That is another meaning. And another meaning that we can see is every Jiva is eternal. Even the current Brahma is there from beginningless time, and he will be there up to beginningless time. I mean, he is there eternally. So, Lord is Bhuta Bhavya Brahma for the current Brahma himself. From the beginningless time, in the past, the Lord is controlling the current Chaturmukha. So, we are not talking about all the Brahmas, infinite number of Brahmas. We are talking about one Brahma. This one Brahma is there from beginningless time. So, the Lord who controls the current Brahma from beginningless time in all the past times, and the Lord who controls the current Chaturmukha Brahma in the current time, present tense, and the Lord who takes this current Brahma to moksha in the future, and even after going to the moksha, the Lord who controls the Brahma even in the moksha till the endless time. So that means in all times, Bhuta Bhavya Bhavishyat Kala, Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat, Paramatma who controls the current Brahma, who is the Lord of the current Brahma, that's why he is Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat Prabhu. Another way we can talk about is same concept for each and every god, which is like Vayu, Rudradeva. So in the past, the Rudradeva was there as Ugra or whatever in other forms, and the Lord is there for all the previous Rudras, current Rudra and future Rudras, infinite number of Rudras. And even for the current Rudra, the Lord is ruled him, controlled him in the entire past. The Lord controls the Rudra currently in the current times, and in the future the Lord takes Rudra to Sesha Padavi, Sesha Post, and after that the Lord takes him to the moksha, and even after going to the moksha, that Nitya Sparsha Sukha, he gives a constant contact to Sesha even after going to the moksha in one form. So the Lord takes infinite, so there are infinite Seshas who are already liberated. In each Sesha, on each Sesha, the Lord in one form is reposing on each one of those Sesha Rupas. And in the current Sesha Rupa, the Lord in Kshirosamudra is reposing on the current Sesha. And in future also, every Sesha that comes, the Lord is going to repose on that Sesha in future also. So the infinite number of Rudra Seshas the Lord controls. And if you take one Rudra, he, Lord, controls that Rudra from past, present and future. Current Sesha also Lord controls in the past, present and future. So that way he is Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat Prabhu for every single Jiva. So for Brahma, Vayu and each one of their Patnis also, each one of them, Saraswati, Bharati and Rudradeva and Rudrapatni Uma, every one of them the Lord controls. And same way Indra, Kama and their Patnis from beginningless time, current and in the future. The Lord who is Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat Prabhu. So this meaning you can give for each and every great Devatas, each and every Rishis, each and every Jiva. So you can see basically this meaning, this word can give almost infinite number of meanings by talking about the infinite number of Jivas. So he is the Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat Prabhu for the infinite number of Jivas. So this concept is given by the word Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat Prabhu. And then in Purusha Sukta, so when we talk about that, there's some questions that come. The Purvapakshins, like people who have Advaita, they say, hey, you are saying Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat Prabhu, the Lord who controls this universe in the past, present and future. But that is not acceptable because Purusha Evedam Sarvam, the Purusha Sukta that comes, it says Purusha Eva Idam Sarvam, everything is Lord, and Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma, everything is the Lord. That means this entire universe, though it is appearing, it is like a silver shell, the shell which is like it looks like silver, but there's no silver in there. We call silver shell, or Shukti Rajata is a Sanskrit word, and the English equivalent is silver shell. That means it's like a shell or a conch shell, and it has the color of silver, and it looks as if it is made of silver, but there's no silver in there. Just as silver appears to be there in silver shell and it is not real, same way the world appears to be there because the Lord himself is appearing as the universe. So there is no separate thing, such thing as the universe. This all universe that we are seeing is Lord himself. That's why you cannot say if the Lord himself is the universe, He is the Lord of the universe. You cannot say Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat Prabhu. It cannot convey the meaning that the Lord is controlling the past, present and future, this entire universe, because this entire universe is actually an illusion. It is not real. So this is an objection that is raised by Purvapakshins using their own logic and also using the Purusha Sukta, Purusha Evedam Sarvam, Purusha Eva Idam Sarvam. The Lord himself is everything. That means everything is the Lord himself. So there is no such thing separate something. The universe is not there. That means the Lord cannot be Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat Prabhu. So this meaning does not apply. So how do you resolve that? So this objection they raise, the objection is resolved like this. Purusha Evedam Sarva means Lord is everything, means Lord controls everything. We use in real life also. Hey, he is the whole thing in this big function. He is everything. He power, like, this activity, he is the activity. So people use this kind of a loose sentence. They're saying he controls that. Same way the Lord is everything means Lord controls everything. Purusha Evedam Sarvam, that Purusha Sukta Vakya, it says that the Lord is controller of everything. He controls everything. That's what is conveyed. And it is not true that the world is an illusion. So the silver shell example is not right, because there the silver appears to be there means that's Brahmajanaka. That means because of our delusion. But such delusion is not here, because this world is created by the Lord. He is a creator, means he did not create a delusion. He created the real world only. So the meaning that has to be taken, Bhuta Bhavyat Bhavat Prabhu, is also the meaning conveyed by the Purusha Sukta Vakya, Purusha Evedam Sarvam Yad Bhutam Yaccha Bhavyam. So the Purusha Sukta itself, it says Purusha Evedam Sarvam Yad Bhutam Yaccha Bhavyam. If it is an illusion, or if it is Lord himself, there we won't use that expression Yad Bhutam Yaccha Bhavyam Utamritatva Seshano Yadannenati Rohati. So there itself is talking about past, present and future. That means this whole universe is controlled by the Lord at all times. That is what the meaning is conveyed. And another thing is, like, people says this thing, Purusha Evedam Sarvam, talks about the Nirgunatva, Nirakaratva of the Lord. That means his formless, his qualityless, attributeless. That objection they raise, that objection is also refuted by the very beginning of the Purusha Sukta. Purusha Sukta says, Om Sahasrasesha Purushaha Sahasraksha Sahasrapat. He has 1,000 heads, 1,000 eyes, 1,000. There 1,000 means not just 1,000, it's infinite, because if he has 1,000 heads, automatically it should have told, if it's exactly 1,000, then 2,000 eyes. It doesn't say 2,000, it says 1,000 heads, 1,000 eyes, 1,000 ears. That means it is infinite. Infinite heads, infinite eyes, infinite number of ears. So that is what is conveyed. So if it is Nirakara, we do not talk about 1,000 heads. That means infinite heads. That means he is not made of Prakruta Akara, or materialistic form is not there. But the Lord is made of the supernatural Aprakruta Akara is there. So that is what is conveyed by that thing. So Paramatma is not Nirguna Nirakara, but he is Ananda Akara, Jnananandatmaka Guna Akara Bhuta. He has that thing. So that's why Ishano Bhuta Bhavyasya Sa Evadya Savu Shvaha. The Kataka Upanishad also says that meaning same. He is the Lord of Bhuta Bhavyasya Sa Eva Adya Savu Shvaha. He alone controlled past and now present, and in the future also he controls everything. That is what is conveyed by all the Upanishads also. So that is what is the right meaning. So this here I'll stop, and we'll continue with the next word in the next class. Sri Krishna Arpanamastu.